Welcome to this week's edition of HawkTalk. We're talking spring sports, looking forward to the different seasons we have coming up. Some of those joining us right here. Why don't we go ahead and introduce ourselves, starting with you, Coach.
Kristen Fleury, head softball coach.
I'm Jalen Creech. I'm a senior.
And Jalen, what position do you play and where do you come from?
I'm a pitcher and I'm from Billings, Montana.
Okay. Well, you guys have had an opportunity to get on the field in the indoor stadiums across the region. You know, how has things started for you guys so far?
Yeah, it's we were able to go up to Minot and play in their new dome. You know, they're trying to work some kinks out with how they play games, so it kind of alters the game a little bit for us rules-wise, but we were able to actually get some games in, so that was good. And then we went up to Aberdeen and played kind of a crossover conference games. I don't know if it's really a crossover when we're playing Jamestown and Valley, our two closest opponents, in February, but we were able to get 4 games in that weekend, and you know, obviously didn't come out probably how we wanted to in the wins and loss column, but we were able to get some good innings in. We were able to grow as a team, see some players who can do some things maybe that we as coaches in the gym practice time we weren't able to see, so it was good.
Yeah, from your perspective, Jalen, you know, what's it like to finally get on the mound and actually pitching to a hitter?
It was really good. We, as pitchers and catchers, have been working every morning. We go in the gym at 6 a.m., so it was good to finally get to see some actual batters instead of our teammates, instead of playing little scrimmages, but it was really nice.
Yeah, and looking forward, you guys get to get on the dirt and grass outdoors finally, heading to Tucson this weekend. Coach, you know, what all goes into a trip of this magnitude, traveling with a bunch of people and going down to Tucson?
Yeah, we've done it for many years now, and obviously we might not be playing softball here in our region anytime soon as we sit here on a snow day, but you know, it's exciting for us to get outdoors. We've played the game indoors with, again, some altered rules, different things, so now you know, we get to put everything together out on the field, play a lot of games in a short amount of time. We'll have a lot of fans there, parents that get to travel, and just enjoy the sunshine, you know, get the opportunity to see a lot of innings, play a lot of games, see what some kids can do. You know, it's a great spring trip break for us, and then we can come back and focus on conference season.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, this wouldn't be possible without, you know, the support of the community and different things. Fundraising-wise that you guys have done with the crab feed held last month, you know, how was that successful and how does that help you going forward?
Absolutely. As our second year for the crab feed, you know, the first year going into it, we didn't know what to expect. And Coach Watson and the baseball team, we teamed up, decided to attack it, and then our second year was even a bigger success than our first year. So, you know, we got to thank everybody in the community that won, bought a ticket, showed up, sponsors that donated silent auction, live auction items, and it's just one thing it is for our athletes. It allows them to showcase themselves kind of before we kick off our season, and also it helps financially take the burden off of them because it is an expensive trip for us to go down there. We're there for 9-10 days, airline tickets, hotels, meals, transportation, game fees, all those things, you know, add up quick, especially when you're traveling with 2022. So it's been awesome for our program. You know, we hope to continue it. We don't obviously know moving forward. I guess I have a few months to think about it with baseball, you know, not being around next year, but you know, I hope it's something we can continue because it really does take the burden off our athletes and allows them to, you know, focus on what they need to focus on, their academics and softball.
Yeah, Jalen, you know, from an athlete's perspective, how big do you see the support of this community behind the team and, you know, everything you guys do?
It's awesome. Just to see how many people come out for the crab feed and how many people buy a ticket or just come to support us is awesome. Especially like during the spring when we actually do start playing games, it's really cool to see how many people from the community come out to watch us play.
Absolutely. You had the chance to go down last year. What do you remember from kind of that experience of team bonding down in Arizona, and how are you looking forward to it this year?
This year, I think it's going to be a lot different because I think we have a better team like bond now, and I think it's just going to get stronger. Especially on the field, I feel like we have become stronger as a team, and we can only go up from here.
Absolutely. Looking forward, you guys come back and, kind of in and out, going down to Bellevue, going over to Mayville for a couple home games or away games. What's kind of the outlook of, being on the road for a little while here?
Well, with our conference schedule, we got to learn how to win on the road. We play a lot of road games, and so we're going to have to learn how to win on the road. Again, we go to La Crosse, then we go to Mayville, we go to Bellevue, we go to Presentation in Aberdeen. So, again, hopefully when we're down in Arizona, we're going to learn how to win on the road, because that's where the majority of our season is going to be. But who knows, with the weather, I guess in a spring sport, you never know. We're only scheduled 2 home weekends, so that's tough. But also with the weather, those might be flip-flopped, and we might be playing here more than on the road. So
yeah, definitely. From an athlete's perspective, and then we can get coaches, how flexible do you have to be with your schedule, whatever it may be? Because like you said, snow one day, sun the next, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, you have to be pretty flexible. You have to have a pretty open schedule, especially when we do travel as much as we are traveling this year. But I think it'll be good.
Coach?
Yeah, our kids don't know if one day we're going to be inside, the next day we're going to be outside. So they have to understand, the flexibility of our schedule. We're not, 3 to 5 every single day. It starts in the early spring for us, I guess, January, February, when we start practicing, and that kind of shows is, one day we're 3 to 5, next day we're 5 to 7, next day we're 7 to 9. So our schedule is never really consistent. So, hopefully that prepares them as we move forward into games and moving games and things like that. And, hopefully we have the backing and from our professors, if we do have to miss class in order to get games in and things like that. So.
Yep. Well, best of luck to you, ladies.
Thank you.
Yep. Check out dsubluehawks.com for the results. Down in Tucson and on the road, they'll be back in the beginning of April, so check out that full schedule at dsubluehawks.com. Welcome back to Hawk Talk. We're talking with another one of our coaches headed down south this week, Coach O'Donnell. But just to start, what's kind of the off season like? Obviously, we're sitting here on a snow day, but golf still has to progress and move forward.
Yeah, well, it's a good time to go down south, isn't it? No, the winter we have the simulator up at the rec center that. Obviously, that we take part in that, and they have a little winter league that gives us a little competition too. And so that part of it is probably the big part, and then lifting and on fitness programs during the winter and kind of gear up toward the spring.
So I'm curious about the simulator. Maybe explain that, and maybe explain who won this spring.
Oh, yeah. Did he put you up to that? Is that?
No.
Yeah, Jay Starr, one of our women's team, I was on her team, and it goes all season long. So I think there was 8 weeks of play, and Jason and I were undefeated going into the tournament, and Zach and Parker ended up winning the tournament in the simulator, and the other 3, I think we all ended up tied for second. So it was good.
Yeah, not bad. But moving forward, getting to go down to Arizona this week, how big is that for getting ready for the season? Before many other people in our region can.
Yeah, it's for a couple reasons. One, recruiting, obviously, the kids that we recruit, and obviously if you can go down south and play in Arizona, it's a real attractive thing for our players because we're not, and because we are in the north. So that's a big bonus for us. And then it's real important to get swinging out on a course and all that before we start into the spring stuff. And it's been real good. I think, obviously, you've been down there. It's great for everybody that go down spring break type of time, and then be able to get a bunch of swings and kind of see where they're at as far as scores and kind of work on the mental side of golf too.
For you, Parker, what's it been like, these past couple of years to be able to experience that, project you into the spring, and then, prepare you, I guess?
Yeah, I've always thought of it as it's not going to necessarily make you strides and strides better, but it's going to get you prepared for that first tournament whenever that comes, based on weather. But you're going to be ready for it. You're going to have another week in advance of preparation for that, and that's a big part of it. It wouldn't be possible without some of those people we have down there helping us, the Merwins and different people like that. So a big thank you to them. But it seems like there's a lot of DSU connections down there. So how cool is it to run into some of those?
Yeah, definitely.
faces?
I mean, Larry Merwin's done an outstanding job for. I mean, to be able to go in there and he just kind of turns the place over to us, and you got the pool and the jacuzzi and all that. So I mean, that part of it's really nice, and obviously it saves us thousands of dollars. And he actually was able to get us on his home course. They have a corporate, so that saved our green fees and things like that. So that's amazing for us to be able to do it. Otherwise, it would be real tough for us to do that trip. But yeah, and then we go to one of the courses we go to, Lone Tree. Dennis Limke was a former basketball coach at Dickinson. He's on that course. That's his home course. So we've ran into him down there. And then I think last year he was up here for a funeral or something. But it's great to know that every time we go in the simulator, we talk about going down south. Somebody's just returned from down there, and they live on this course, or they live on have a house on that course. So it really ties together, knowing that there's a lot of Dickinson people down there.
Absolutely. You mentioned recruiting a little bit. Over the winter, you guys added two on the women's side. Talk about Sydney and the other from Shelby, Montana.
Yeah, Sydney is obviously a local talent. We definitely like to have her. Abby is out of Shelby, Montana, which they'll be starting up here. And she was all-state. I think get a chance to get them acclimated with the team. Knows the girls on the team already, but Shelby, give them out numbers and they visit a little bit just to give them a little more time before fall comes. But I think she's excited now that she's decided to come, and now she can relax and play golf, not worry about that aspect of it. And so recruiting during the winter month is real nice for golf. The women seem to choose a little earlier than the guys for some reason, but to get that solidified, I think we'll have 7 on the team for the women. So it's a good number to have, and I think we'll be pretty solid.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for the guys' perspective, we're holding out for that D1 offer late in the cycle. So I'll respect their wishes there. But a lot of this wouldn't be possible with a lot of the support the golf team has received over the last 6-7 months since the news coming that it would be cut from the university budget. But how has that gone so far in the community support?
Yeah, good. Our kids have done a great job going out and fundraising, and a lot of people, Ty and the foundation have done a great job of getting the word out and trying to help us out, and we're sitting in a real good spot. I think we're working on finishing that up. We have a couple fundraisers left. We'll do a tournament in June out at Heart River here to try to button up the last of our budget stuff. And so I think that part of it, actually today I'm working on our donation for the Rendezvous coat rack that you can bid on, but that'll be part going into our fundraising fund. So the support in town has been good, especially with our local guys that are on the team. They know a lot of people. They've been out, and a couple of them work at the golf course, so they know all the golfers out there. We did the homecoming tournament last year, and a lot of people braved the weather to come out and play. So hopefully it'll keep rolling. I think those 2 tournaments will be our biggest thing. The June one, which we haven't done yet. But I think we get sponsors for that, and then fill it up with teams. I think it'll help us get over the top.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Moving kind of backwards from that into the rest of your spring season, we talked about it with Coach Fleury a little bit. The weather is completely, out there for who knows what's going to happen. How do you prepare for that as a coach, scheduling things?
It's a moving target, and I think the other coaches are all in the same boat in our area. So it's very, very flexible. If we have a meet planned in Billings, and then so if the weather is bad out there, there's South Dakota will have something, or eastern North Dakota. So I think where the storm hits, unlike the one that we just had that covered the whole state. But I think there's possibilities of other events if something gets filled up with weather and has to move. But we're doing our spring one in Medora, the 8th and 9th, and obviously we definitely want to do it there, obvious, because it doesn't cost us anything to have that meet there. And we have some Montana schools coming in, South Coast schools, so I think it'll be, actually Minot State is looking at coming down to now too. So I think we'd like to try to keep that going as much as possible and then try to build on that.
Yeah, and so, a couple in Montana, a couple here in North Dakota, and then into conference down in Albert Lee. Of course, we're familiar with, from a past conference, what's it kind of looking like, and looking forward towards that.
I think for the most of the guys that have been on there, well, except for maybe Carter, have been down there, so what it's like. There are awfully some challenges, and there's some holes that are a little tricky. And I think that, obviously the more you play it, the better you can manage it. I don't know. What do you think? That you like? I don't think you like that course.
No, it's still windy. It is, regardless. You can say Dickinson's the windiest place, and you can go somewhere else, and you can say that's the windiest place. It's windy everywhere.
Yeah, and it was windy there. So maybe it'll be a different. Obviously, it'll be a different course if the wind's not blowing. But it's not it's not a bully pulpit type of course. So there, you can get away with some things there that you can in bully, but obviously it's a conference championship. So we definitely want to have our A game there.
Yep. Well, best of luck on the season, Coach. I'll try to make you proud. We'll be back with Hawk Talk, talking about another soon-to-be well-traveled gentleman.
Life is full of many successes, achievements, stages. Every year we grow, things change, and pretty soon we realize we want and need to do more. When you're ready for that next step, Dickinson State University will get you there. Find out how at dsublue.com.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk. We're visited by another person who's going to be traveling over spring break. We got Tyler Doohan. Maybe introduce yourself, what your role is on campus, and what you've been up to.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on today. My name is Tyler Doohan, and I lead Fellowship of Christian Athletes here at Dickinson State University. I've been on board with FCA for about 6 years now. Really came on board with FCA once we got it going at Dickinson State University, and it's been a part of my life for the last 6 years. A great part of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a familiar face on the sideline of just about every Dickinson State athletic event, and you got the opportunity to go down to Des Moines this weekend and check out the wrestling team and see Gresh Jones fight to that 4th place. What was that experience like down there with the guys?
It was a great trip. Just appreciate Coach Schlecht letting me tag along and be a servant however I could on the trip for the team. It was my first national championship event that I've attended, and it was absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of our guys. The 5 guys who competed, they all did extremely well. They battled hard to the end, and then, like you said, Gresh made All-American, so he made it to day 2. That's kind of when you go, you want to make it to day 2, and he battled all the way through and had a tough 3rd, 4th place match. He faced the guy in the quarterfinals and beat him. Found the guy again, and it just didn't work out this time, but he carried himself well and competed well, and it was just an awesome experience.
Yeah, and so looking forward to this spring break week, you're traveling a little further than Des Moines.
Yes.
I guess both of you talk about that itinerary and what you guys all will be up to.
Yeah, so I think it was about a year ago, I put a bug in everybody's ear at FCA and said, would you guys be interested in going to Africa? And everybody's like, yeah, let's do it. But now it's reality. We leave next Saturday. We're headed to Musana Camps, which is in Uganda, Africa. and we will depart on Saturday. It's over 24 hours travel time, 2 9-hour plane rides, a flight from Bismarck to Minneapolis, and then we'll cap it off with a bus ride or a van ride that we go 35 miles, but it takes about 5 hours to get there. And so these guys will be well traveled by the time we get there and get to Musana camps. But I'm just super excited to take our athletes from Dickinson State University, because I know that they're top notch, not only in athletic skill, but character. And that's the biggest thing that I'm going to get out of this, is taking those guys to show to Uganda, the quality that we have at Dickinson State, but at the same time letting these guys experience the quality that exists in Uganda and their culture and their people. And we're just so excited to just go do life for a week over there.
I think the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is kind of spending the time with this group of athletes that's going with, and Tyler, and then just involving ourselves in the culture over there. We get to put on a sports camp. For some of those kids, we're doing football, volleyball, track, and
Soccer.
Yeah. None of us know soccer, but we're going to do soccer. It's going to be fun. But yeah, it's going to be really great to just take the knowledge that we know with sports and with Jesus, and just kind of involve that with kids over there, the culture over there. Get to meet a lot of people I've never met. Get to involve myself in a whole new culture. So that's going to be really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Since you mentioned, it's been a year of planning, going through the process, whatever it may be. Now that it's here for you, Seth, how excited are you to take off Saturday?
Yeah, it's crazy that it's already this week. Tyler mentioned back in November, he said March is going to be here a lot quicker than you think, and it's already here. But it's gonna be awesome. Not really looking forward to the 24 hours of travel, but it'll be all part of the journey, and so well worth it. Very excited for it.
Yeah, I'm sure being your tall frame doesn't work so well in tight planes and whatnot. Talk about the group that's going and who's all participating.
Yep. So Kayla Ray, Seth Moorkirky, Brady Wills, Austin Stradley, Amanda Stradley, who Amanda competed for us a year ago, and her husband moved back to Miles City. They're coming on the trip. Jade Derby, Mackenzie. Sorry, Mackenzie, I always struggle with your last name. It's a tongue twister.
DiGiswaldo.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
And Merritt.
And Merritt Mickelson are all going.
Nice.
And then there's 3 other people joining us. It's Courtney Williams, Najee Williams, and Ayla Williams. Good friends of mine, and Najee's actually going to be our soccer coach over there, because he's a soccer guy.
Yeah,
he's still in high school, but he can ball out. And so we're just really excited to, like Seth said, no one's going to be able to take this trip from us. This is going to be something that we experience together. And I'm sure, I don't know all these athletes as well as I know some of them. Like Seth and Kayla, they're out at the house all the time, so I know them really well, and Brady. But the other ones, this is going to be an opportunity to get to know what makes them tick, what do you love about life, all these things that are going to come up while we're over there.
Yeah. And one of the things, that's been super encouraging when we've been, leading up to this trip is the amount of support we've had. Just, from family members to friends to people in this community. We've done a pancake feed, we've done a vendor show. What else have we done?
We did the raffle.
Yeah, we did a raffle which involved, all of the DSU community, the Dickinson community, and it was just incredible to have, people supporting us and helping us raise money for kids over there and for us to get there. It's been awesome.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Tyler, you've been involved kind of since the start of FCA at Dickinson State. And how have you seen it grow as an organization since those early days?
So we started meeting at Dale Daly's house when Meyer Bond was still here, and I think it was Trevor Conrad, yes. And so it was 4 guys and spaghetti, at Dale Daly's house. And then that next year we got approved to be on campus. And since then we've seen it grow from 5 kids the first year to 15 to 20, and then this last year, our first meeting, there was over 40 athletes there. And really with FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, our focus is coaches and athletes and pouring into their lives, because they work so hard at academics, and then college athletics is completely different than high school athletics. It's a full-time job. All of that pressure and stress can really get to somebody, and so FCA during the week is an area or a place where they can come and just let it all go and just be themselves. They can bring their struggles, their victories. They can bring all of that to FCA and come and be encouraged. because a lot of kids sometimes are missing just some encouragement in their life, and FCA is that at Dickinson State University.
Yeah, from both of your perspectives, how big is that to have people with kind of those familiar experiences, even if they're coming from different walks of life, but having those same experiences of going to practice, going to class, doing all the college routine things? What is that for you, Seth?
Yeah, I think that just creates a community, like a family. We've talked about family quite a bit, with different organizations, whether it's the DSU family, our football family. We have this FCA family, that's very welcoming and very supportive of each other. We like to get to each other's events. We go to basketball games, wrestling matches, whatever it is, just to support each other. And I think the support from the other athletes is probably one of the best things about FCA, is that these guys have your back no matter what. They're going to support you even if you have a bad game or a bad day at practice, and that's really encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, life continues after sports. I played football in junior college, only played 2 years, so I can relate to a student-athlete lifestyle. And at FCA, I mean, we talk athletics, we talk kingdom and how the two work together. Because, I mean, as an athlete yourself, I mean, you almost learn more in a defeat than you do in a victory. So how do we process through those defeats we're having, not only on the court or on the field, but in life? Because they're just, really as an athlete, they're just a challenge. It's not going to, I'm going to kick its butt, you have to attack life in that way. And we just try to share wisdom like that at FCA and just talk about it.
Yeah, for any student athletes out there looking to get involved, what's the best way to get involved later this spring, next year, whatever it may be? Yeah,
so we're going to have a few weeks off with FCA because of the trip and everything going on, but we meet on Tuesday nights at the BAC from 7:30 to 8:30 or 9. It just depends on who's speaking. I know Seth, when he's preaching, he goes a little longer than he should.
2 hours.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's open to everybody, and if you're not a student athlete on campus but you like sports, it's open to anybody, even if you don't like sports. I mean, we're just here to love everybody, regardless of who you are, where you came from, what you've done. It's open to everybody, but we will talk about athletics because that's our core. It's who we are. It's what we're about.
Yeah,
absolutely. Looking forward, what are you looking forward to most in this experience, Seth?
I think kind of just being away from the fast-paced life of college, and just getting to experience, just nature. There's a huge lake, Lake Victoria, we get to be right next to. A lot of trees, waterfalls. Just to be out in nature, and with nice warm weather. I'm hoping, and just to get to experience this trip with 10 other people, 11, 12, 13, however many people who are going on the trip, and we get to have this week of our lives together, and just to spend that investing in each other, I think.
Yeah.
Tyler?
I'm super excited about watching the athletes that I'm taking, watching them kind of come alive in life, because we don't always know what kind of gifts we possess as people, but as a ministry leader, I can see those things in the people that I minister to. And so I'm really excited. Some things that maybe I've noticed on their life, I'm excited to watch those just come out in full force in Africa. And I promise you that the team that leaves and the team that comes back are going to be completely different. They're going to be changed. Maturity, courage, all the things that as a believer that, we want to possess. I'm just believing that for the team that I'm taking over.
Well, awesome work, guys. Safe travels to you.
Thanks, Park.
Keep safe out there. Seth and I will return 2 weeks from today. We're going to get out there, get a little tan, Arizona, Africa. But we'll be taking next week off since we'll be on the road. We'll be back after spring break talking about track and field, softball, baseball, golf, and a little spring football sprinkled in there as well. So enjoy the spring break, everyone. And until next time, Hawks are out.